was an old lady waiting for me in the hall. She took my hand, even though I was way too old for that shit. Just another dagger to my eternally daggy heart, and walked me towards the parking lot, where her car was waiting. There was another old lady sitting in the front passenger seat. It was like being arrested by the Golden Girls. And there, in the back, like two criminals who had finally been busted after years on the run, were Rhiannon and Taylor. Rhiannon's head was hanging in shame, and I knew we had finally been caught. The old ladies were DOCS workers. Someone had dobbed us in. And apparently there would be no more chances. No more staying in halfway houses or rehab centres with Mum. No more staying with a friend for a few days until things blew over. It was time for us to be officially removed from care. The government Golden Girls were out to ruin our lives. Mum needed to get better, and this time we weren't allowed to stick around for the ride. We stayed with an uncle for a while. We stayed with our birth grandma for a while. Taylor was separated from us and lived with some of her dad's relatives for a while. But nobody seemed to want to keep us. Whatever test you needed to pass to be a kid that adults wanted around, we were just not passing it. We were told that all three of us might be split up, that 3 girls together was too much of a commitment for most carers. Mum was apparently doing well. She had been to rehab and was now back working as a nurse, but it would still be a while before the Golden Girls would trust her again, so we desperately needed somewhere to live. That's when we hit the foster home jackpot. From the start, everybody kept saying how lucky we were. We were just so lucky that anyone was willing to take on 3 girls, especially when one of them was a toddler. We were just so lucky that they were a wealthy family from Pennant Hills who lived in a beautiful big house. We were just so lucky that their son, who went to a very fancy private school, was around the same age as us. We were just so lucky that the foster mum and dad seemed like such lovely people. We were so lucky. And it actually was pretty incredible. The first night we went to live with our amazing new foster family, it was like being in a movie where everything turns out fine in the end. We dropped our stuff off at their Pennant Hills mansion and drove up to their farm for the weekend. Yeah, they had a house and a farm. And this wasn't just any farm, it was like a kid utopia surrounded by bush. There was a tennis court, a treehouse, a water slide, and a flying fox. Oh, and just when we thought it couldn't get any more perfect, we found out our new foster parents took care of abandoned joeys. Baby goddamn kangaroos. We're in heaven. It was our first night living with the foster family jackpot, and we were so lucky. Then it was time to take a bath. There was no hot water at our weekend farm paradise, so our new foster dad heated some up on the fire outside. Then he took us to the bathroom and poured it into a massive tub. He told us to jump in, and then he just stood there. My sister and I looked at each other. "Come on," he said, "before it gets cold." And still, he just stood there. This was weird. We weren't sophisticated ladies, but we weren't little kids either. We'd each had a birthday since being taken away from Mum. I was 10, Rhiannon was 13, and neither of us wanted to get naked in front of a man we didn't know. But he obviously intended to stay in the bathroom, and everything was just so awesome, and there was a tree house, and we were just so lucky.